Hello, gents. We are going to start working with the next exercise. I'm going to show you how to do it. You remember that I mentioned that it will be a combination of the mechanisms that we already did. So the first exercise you will see is a combination of the linked crank as well as the slider and crank. So the linked crank you will remember from the last exercise that we did. As you can see, it runs through this point. Okay, and then the next part is the slider crank. So this one is the slider crank that slides on this base over here. Okay, so die volgende oefening wat ons gaan doen is 'n gekombineerde meganisme tussen twee verskillendes. Die twee waarmee ons gaan werk is die geskakelde kruk. Dit was die laaste oefening wat ons gedoen het met daai twee sirkels. So jy het jou punt wat deur beweeg deur hierdie punt B en dan het jy natuurlik ook jou skuif en kruk as meganisme. So hy skuif en gly bo op hierdie oppervlakte daar. So hoe ons te werk gaan met hom weer eens, ek gaan hierdie vervang met die 1, I'm going to replace that with 1, and I'm going to work with 2, 3, and I'm going to continue like that up to the end. Now my next step of course will be to connect C through point 2, and just like with the other exercises, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish all of them and then only I'll get my point D with my compass. Okay, so ek gaan weer eens al my lyne trek en daarna gaan ek eers my punt D bepaal. So from point C straight through point 2, then I'm going to go through point 3, then I'm going to go through point 4. Now, you'll remember with the previous exercise that we did, due to the fact that this point is stationary, I can just take my compass, work with this measurement, because it's never going to change. You see, it's never going to change. So I'm going to do an arch like this. So I know that this is all my points. Okay, so I'm going to do it like this. So ek gaan my boog trek, net soos wat ons met 'n ander oefening gedoen het, waar hy ook vas was in punt C, het ek net my boog getrek. So nou weet ek dat hierdie is D1, hierdie punt hierso gaan wees D2, dan volg ek D3, this point D3, and this one will be D4, and then I'll continue on like that. So this one will be connected from C through point 5, so that will be C5, then I'm going to go over to C6, then I'm going to do C7, and I'll continue on like that. And now you see, now I don't have this excess lines over here, so nou het ek nie die extra lyne wat dit baie onnetjies maak nie, so dit kan ek maar verwyder. From C through 8, so I'll extend this arch. This will be D5, D6, D7, D8, D9, D10. Okay, and then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to D11. So this one here will be D11, and D12 will be in line with D6. Okay, so now I'll finish with that. Now I'm going to extend this line. Of course, it's going to slide on this line, so I gaan op hierdie lyn gly. En dit is hoekom ek hom nou gaan verder verleng. Okay, so now I'm going to work with this measurement. So now I'm going to say D2, that where it crosses with my horizontal line. So this will be E2. E3, and I'll continue on like this. This will be E4, Just have to move my camera a little. Okay, so all I'm going to do now, I'm going to connect all of these points. So D1 is already connected to E1. So now I'm going to connect D2 with E2. I'm going to connect D3 with E3. D4 with E4. D5 with E5. And I'll continue on like this up to the point where I'm finished connecting all of the points. Okay, so I'm finished marking off all those lines. Now I'm going to work with my next points, which is GP. It's 30 millimeters. So I'm taking my compass, measuring off 30 millimeters. So vat my pas dat ek meet af 30 millimeter. And you remember from the previous exercise, due to the fact that there's so many lines here, to ensure that you work with the correct line, I'm going to work with this one. So this will be my first mark. I'm going to go to D2, ensure that I follow the correct line. Here, 3, D4, D5, D6, D7, D8, D9, D10, D11, and 12. So if I connect these points, it will go from D1 over here to D2, from D2 to D3, from D4, D5, D6, D7, D8, D9, D10, and then it goes back to 11, 12, and back to 1. So it will create a profile like that. Okay, if you have any questions or you don't understand this, please feel free to contact us.